We're looking at our 7 letters to the 7 churches in Revelation 2 and 3, and specifically the message to the overcomer in each one. First, though, I want to share something awesome that I found in chapter 1, and it's directly relevant to our study. So, Jesus says to John in verse 11, check this out. He says, write this stuff in a book, not in 7 books. He says, in a book, and send it to the 7 churches. All right, so John says, I turned to see what? Not the person that was talking. He says, I turned to see the voice. But you can't see a voice, right? But what then? Verse 12, and having turned, I saw the lampstands. Isn't that crazy? Verse 20, look at that. The 7 lampstands which you saw are the 7 churches. We're the voice of Jesus. You're an epistle of Christ, ministered by the Spirit of God. Isn't that awesome? All right, so let's look at these 7 letters and look at the message to the overcomer. There's a really cool piece of our puzzle. This is what I want to get at today. So I'm going to start from the end and go backwards, if you guys don't mind. The message to the church of Laodicea, which is us, by the way. To him who overcomes, I will grant to sit with me on my throne, as I also overcame and sat down with my Father on his throne. Well, with how horrible our report card is, this is actually pretty good news. We're going to rule and reign with Christ, right? If we overcome. The question is when. We know he puts an end to rule and authority when he hands over the kingdom to the Father at the end of the millennium. According to Paul in 1 Corinthians 15? Yeah, 1 Corinthians 15:24. Then comes the end when he delivers the kingdom to God the Father, when he puts to end all rule and authority and power. For he must reign until he has put all enemies under his feet. And we know that there's a great battle at the end of the millennium, so we can say the result of this message to the overcomer places them in the millennium. Just hang with me a second. This is really cool. Okay, next one is Philadelphia. He who overcomes, I will make him a pillar in the temple of my God, and he shall go out no more. I will write on him the name of my God and the name of the city of my God, the New Jerusalem, which comes down out of heaven from my God. And I will write on him my new name. This one also must be referring to the millennium. We know there's a temple in the millennium, right? Ezekiel's temple in chapters 40 to 48 is the millennial temple. So far we have 2 promises that pertain to the millennium. Let's look at Sardis. He who overcomes shall be clothed in white garments, and I will not blot out his name from the book of life, but I will confess his name before my Father and before his angels. This passage is so amazingly insightful. What did Jesus say would happen if we deny his name before men? Okay, so the white garments, you know all this stuff already. Nearly every group we see throughout Revelation that ends up in the throne room at various times is said to be clothed in white, which is a model of being washed by the blood of Christ. So is this message to the overcomer referring to the millennial reign? Yes, I think so. It's certainly not referring to eternity. Thyatira, oh my, for all of us who love to chew on the empirical global church behemoth, I think it behooves us to carefully read and pay attention to all the details listed here. If the letter fits Rome to a T, then it fits Rome to a T. Some of this stuff you wish he was saying to us, but some of it, yeah, not so much. Anyhow, it says, and he who overcomes and keeps my works until the end, to him I will give power over the nations, and I will give him the morning star. Power over the nations. He's giving power to an already mega powerful organization? No, the promise is to the individual believer, not the empire. That all gets demolished. So after the millennium, all rule and reign will cease. There won't be any more nations in eternity, so this one belongs in the millennium category, right? Now, please allow me to pop over to our first letter, just for dramatic effect. And remember, these are in the postscript. Ephesus says, to him who overcomes, I will give to eat from the tree of life, which is in the midst of the paradise of God. The New Jerusalem with the river of the water of life and the tree of life refers to, our first postmillennial letter. Okay, moving on to Smyrna, which actually means death. Very short letter. Also very Jewish, just like Philadelphia. It says, he who overcomes will not be hurt by the second death. When is the second death? The great white throne judgment at the end of the millennium, right? So that's crazy. The 4 modern churches all have a message that applies to the time of the millennium. The first 2, the past non-existent historical churches, their messages are placing them at the post-millennium, the eternal state. Do they not pass go? Do they not collect $200? Do they go straight to the eternal Jerusalem? I mean, these are all things we need to wrestle with, right? So, yes, I'm purposefully ignoring Pergamus. That's the one that's a wrench in our works. So, let's go look at it. To him who overcomes, I will give some of the hidden manna to eat, and I will give him a white stone, and on the stone a new name which no one knows except him who receives it. Now what? What do we do with this? Hidden manna, white stone? This isn't millennial, nor is it postmillennial. It's neither. Manna suggests God is supplying your needs during a difficult time. Unless it refers to the little pot of manna, right, that's in the Ark of the Covenant or whatever. But what would that mean? And the white stone is supposedly some Roman method of identification or whatever. It has no apparent place in eschatology. So our whole model comes crashing down at this point. But any well-adjusted Bible student at this point goes digging for more answers, and that's exactly what I did. So the question is, though, what do you think we should do with Pergamus? And this is what I want to hear back. I want to hear, what do you think we should do with this? Personally, I think Pergamus is the pre-runner to Thyatira. I think they're one and the same church. If you look at the two letters, it seems to me that they're the same church at two different stages in time. Just one is a much larger and much worse version of the former. So I hope you guys agree that it is high time to get real, like right now. There's a lot more to this that we haven't covered yet. I've got other things that I want to get after. I don't know how this is all going to play out, but I'm just going to pray about it and wherever the Lord leads. So, okay, whatever next time is what it is, and I'll see you then.